Hello everyone. Today I will recap the movie The Jungle Book. The beginning of the movie is the scene of the boy Mowgli running at full speed because he is being chased by a pack of wolves. Mowgli jumps over rocks, swings up tree branches, and jumps to the opposite bank. However, the wolves quickly catch up with him. The strange thing is that the wolves do not attack him, but are actually running away from another scary predator. When he realizes that he is no longer in time to escape, he quickly climbs the tree, runs on the branches, jumps over other branches, and climbs a large tree trunk. Then, he slips through the tree trunk, jumped over to another tree branch, but did not expect this to be a dead branch, so it immediately broke and makes him fall to the ground. The big black panther, Bagheera, runs to Mowgli, jumps on him, but does not attack. It understands that in order for he to survive in the jungle, he needs his pack. Therefore, Bagheera hands him over to the wolf pair Akela and Raksha. Akela was a good and fair leader, and Raksha took care of and raised Mowgli. She was the mother he had. On the way back, Mowgli kept arguing with Bagheera that if the branch had not broken, he would not have been captured. Bagheera only taught him how to recognize dead trees. Then Mowgli, Bagheera, and the wolf pack returned home. The wolf cubs gathered around. Raksha asked about Mowgli's training. On a high rock, Akela, the wolf father, and the wolf pack loudly recited the law of the species. Finally, everyone howled together, including the youngest wolves and Mowgli, and the howl echoed throughout the forest. Soon, the forest experienced the harshest dry season ever, so much so that even the cactus could not survive. When the last leaf fell, a porcupine who was playing happily discovered a large pool of water. The porcupine squealed happily, and the animals quickly flocked there. According to the rules of the jungle, no hunting was allowed on the riverbank during this time, because drinking water was more important than eating, so the animals had a rare day of peace. Raksha led Mowgli and the wolf cubs came play, and told him to be careful, because not everyone liked humans. He agreed, and happily walked among the animals, but they all looked at him, as if he were an alien. He paid no attention, and was just curious about where the peacock and the porcupine were fighting over a branch. When the two fought, the porcupine jerked back, causing its quills to prick his leg. Suddenly, a bone ladle appeared on the water. The animals watched warily. Finally, he pulled the ladle up. He picked up the homemade ladle and drank, much to the displeasure of the surrounding animals. Akela had repeatedly warned Mowgli not to use human tricks in the jungle, so it scolded him. At this moment, suddenly the birds flew up. Akela noticed something unusual, so it called Mowgli to hide behind him. A moment later, on the opposite rocky mountain range, a striped tiger named Shere Khan appeared, with a big scar on his face. He went to the lake to drink water, and all the animals were afraid and automatically stayed away. Shere Khan declared that he smelled human flesh and went towards the wolf pack, loudly asking why do they harbor humans. Akela firmly stated that Mowgli belonged to the wolf pack. However, Shere Khan still insisted that the law of the jungle did not allow humans to be kept, because he had lost an eye to humans. Raksha could no longer restrain himself, and stepped forward and shouted at Shere Khan, emphasizing that he did not understand the law of the jungle, and only considered hunting a pastime. Shere Khan protests, saying that things can change. When the rains return, this peace will end. He warns the pack that they will have to sacrifice much to save Mowgli, then angrily storms off. The animals then returned to their lairs. Then it started to rain heavily again. The mice were jumping around happily. The hedgehog pulled a tree branch to cover the cave entrance to avoid rain leakage. Rainwater poured down the waterfall, and began to flow everywhere in the river. While the wolf pack was now having a meeting on the rock in the rain, Mowgli sat below with the youngest wolf, very sad. Seeing that the meeting was going nowhere, he went there, and said that he would leave the pack, so that no one has to be in danger because of him. Raksha disagreed, saying that he was her son, but everyone thought that the wolves could no longer protect him. Finally, Bagheera stood up and said that he would take Mowgli back to the humans. Raksha did not want to leave him. Mowgli reassured his mother. He said, "Don't worry, mother, it's not far. He will come back to Sishi." Raksha heartbrokenly told him not to forget that he was her son. Then mother and son hugged each other goodbye. Mowgli sadly left the wolf pack, and Bagheera went with him through a large waterfall. When they reached a stump, Mowgli easily grabbed a small branch and jumped over the cliff. As they walked deeper into the jungle, they saw a herd of elephants. Bagheera reminded he to bow his head, because the elephants were the ones who created this jungle. They created the water and trees here, but because they didn't create Mowgli, that's why he had to leave. Soon, they came to a meadow and saw a herd of buffalo. Then, Bagheera suddenly told Mowgli to run quickly to the ravine to the north. Before Mowgli could understand why, Shere Khan attacked him from behind. Bagheera jumped up to block the attack so that Mowgli could escape, but after a while of fighting, Bagheera was also wounded and fell. Shere Khan quickly caught up with Mowgli. As it was about to pounce on him, a herd of buffaloes ran past, giving him a chance to escape. He quickly slid down the cliff, following the tail of the running buffalo herd. Shere Khan searched for him from above, but when he discovered him, it was too late. Mowgli rushed forward and hugged a buffalo tightly, leaving Shere Khan angry and only able to scream. In the forest, Raksha saw the wolf cub was sad. It took Mowgli's water ladle and said that he missed him very much, wondering why chased him away. Raksha did not want that either, but she knew that Mowgli's safety was the most important. At this time, Shere Khan appeared. Raksha immediately told the wolf cubs to hide in the cave. Shere Khan sought out Akela to talk and asked Akela about Mowgli's hiding place. Akela replied that Mowgli had left the pack to return to the humans. Seeing the wolf pack gathering below, Shere Khan turned around, bit Akela's neck, and threw off the cliff. The pack loses its leader and is left to serve Shere Khan. Just like that, it brazenly occupied the wolf pack's territory. On this side, Mowgli wakes up on the back of a buffalo, not knowing where he is. Suddenly, the surrounding cliffs collapse, forcing him to jump off the buffalo and roll over the rocks, falling into the river below. Luckily, he manages to grab a large tree trunk and sit on it as it drifts downstream. He then grabs a vine to climb up the bank and enters a strange forest, calling Bagheera's name over and over. As he walks, he accidentally steps on a giant snake shell, unaware of the danger lurking around. First, Mowgli needs to pick wild grapes to fill his belly. Unable to reach them, he uses a vine to pull down a branch. Up in the tree, some monkeys are watching him, and a cute weasel fearfully approached him to beg for food. Seeing the cute weasel, he shares his food with it. Unexpectedly, the weasel took the grapes and ran away. He chased them to a large tree, but could not find them. He looked around in confusion. Suddenly, a voice rang out, said him that it would not harm him. From the tree, an Indian python named Kaa crawled down. Kaa told him not to be afraid, and that he knew who he was. Then, Kaa began to hypnotize him and took him back in time. Many years ago, people always avoided the darkness of the forest. They carried something called the red flower, which was both warm and bright. In a cave, a man held a torch to protect his son from the tiger Shere Khan. Shere Khan attacked and killed the man, but it was also injured by the red flower. In pain, it ran away without realizing that there was a child there, which was Mowgli. Bagheera, curious, approached. Mowgli, not knowing anything, so touched its face. At that moment, Bagheera decided to save Mowgli's life. Mowgli was hypnotized by the python Kaa's eyes, which wrapped him tightly. However, as Kaa prepares to eat Mowgli, he is saved by a brown bear named Baloo. When Mowgli wakes up and sees Baloo, he thanks it for saving him. But it says that he must repay the favor by climbing up a cliff and getting honey for him. Baloo explains that it must eat honey before hibernating, or he will starve to death. Seeing Baloo's plight, Mowgli agrees to help. He uses his wits to create two rocks that smash together, then uses a sharp rock to cut a large tree root and break another branch. Mowgli holds onto the rope to climb up the cliff and ties one end of the rope to a large tree trunk. He then slowly descends using the vine and uses the tree to hit a beehive. The bees fly out and sting him painfully. Baloo's friends, a pangolin, a squirrel, and a wild boar, also come to watch. They think that Mowgli will fail like many others, but Baloo believes that he will succeed because he is a man. Mowgli does not give up, and finally, the beehive falls to the ground, and Baloo enjoys eating the honey. Only the squirrel is considerate, giving Mowgli a piece of beeswax to rub on the sting. Then, he thanks Baloo and wants to leave, but Baloo convinces him to stay and help it collect the honey. Finally, Mowgli has to honestly say that he needs to go to the human village to avoid being attacked by Shere Khan. Hearing this, Baloo remembers that he knows Bagheera, the man who saved Mowgli, so it decides to take him back to the village. On the way, Baloo sings the bear song while Mowgli recites the law of the wolf pack. When it gets dark, they reach the edge of the forest and see a brightly lit village. Baloo warns he about something the humans call the red flower, which is dangerous and can destroy everything. Baloo tells he not to touch it, and he obeys. However, in the unfamiliar surroundings, Mowgli misses the days he spent with the wolves. Noticing this, Baloo offers he the chance to stay with it. Then, if Mowgli is unhappy, Baloo will take him back to the village. He agrees and promises to help Baloo get the honey until winter. In the jungle, Shere Khan is trying to divide and poison the wolf cubs. It told Raksha that when Mowgli heard that Akela was dead, he would come back, and it was waiting to kill him. The next morning, while the animals were happily flying around, Baloo was full and just wanted to sleep. Mowgli used stones to cut palm leaves into a bee-proof suit. Then, he used wood and vines to make a trap and fixed it to Baloo. The team worked very well together and quickly harvested a lot of honey. Then, he sat on Baloo's back, let it float down the river, and the two sang a happy song. Suddenly there was a noise in the bushes nearby. Baloo quickly covered Mowgli behind. However, the person who stepped out was Bagheera. Mowgli expressed his concern for Bagheera. After getting lost, he met Kaa and was fortunately saved by Baloo. Bagheera asked he to come with him immediately. When he saw the traps used to collect honey that Mowgli made for Baloo, Bagheera was extremely angry because he knew that Baloo had tricked Mowgli. Bears do not hibernate in the forest. Finally, Bagheera decides to take he away the next morning. At midnight, Mowgli hears a noise and sneaks out to the river. He sees the herd of elephants around a large pit. As he approaches, he sees a baby elephant stuck underneath. Seeing that, he quickly returned home to his house to get some rope, then wraps the rope around the baby elephant's trunk and gives the end of the rope to the big elephants. Finally, the herd helps pull the baby elephant out. Baloo and Bagheera witness the whole thing. Baloo thinks Mowgli is very special and hopes that Bagheera will let him stay. However, Bagheera has to confess to Baloo that Akela was killed by Shere Khan, and now there is no one who can protect Mowgli. Bagheera asks Baloo to help persuade Mowgli because they have become close friends. Baloo tries to convince Mowgli to leave, but he cannot trick him. Finally, Baloo has to say that it does not need he anymore and sends him away. This hurt Mowgli so much that he climbed up a tree sadly and did not speak to anyone. Suddenly, a monkey approached Mowgli and wanted to make friends. Soon, another monkey grabbed him. The monkeys passed Mowgli from branch to branch. Bagheera and Baloo also jumped after him, but they couldn't catch up. The monkeys coordinated well and passed him to the other side of the stream. Baloo jumped into the water and helped Bagheera cross the river. When they arrived, Mowgli was taken by the monkeys to a high cliff. There, he saw an ancient ruin. The monkeys pushed he inside, where there was a large temple, a world of monkeys with many types of monkeys, such as yellow monkeys, black monkeys, old monkeys, and young monkeys. Meanwhile, Baloo and Bagheera climbed the cliff. Finally, the two climbed up. Inside, Mowgli saw statues that looked like humans. Finally, he stopped at a place full of fruits and human utensils. He bent down and picked up an item to look at. Suddenly, the monkeys disperse, and a giant hand appears behind him. The Monkey King Louie appears and asks Mowgli where he came from. Louie then throws him some fruit to try. Louie says that only it can protect he, and if he stays, he will be fed. But there is one condition. He must bring it a red flower. However, Mowgli has been taught that it is a dangerous thing for all species. So he refuses and wants to leave. Louie gets angry, starts throwing things around, yells at he. Louie thinks that he will be tempted by the fruit and will obey him. At this time, Baloo enters and compliments Louie, trying to get its attention. Louie orders the monkeys to surround Baloo, while Bagheera secretly signals Mowgli to hide with. But one of the monkeys spots Mowgli and screams, causing Louie to order everyone to chase after them. He also leaves the throne, furious. Baloo and Bagheera let Mowgli run ahead, while they stay behind to hold off the monkeys. Louie roars, raising his large body and blocking Mowgli's path. He declares that no one can help Mowgli anymore, and tells Mowgli to stay. However, he insists that he will return to his friends and his wolf father Akela. At this point, it informs he that his wolf father Akela was killed by Shere Khan. He cannot accept the truth and runs into the temple, while Louie chases him. Outside, Baloo and Bagheera are still fighting the apes. Meanwhile, Mowgli hides behind a stone pillar inside the temple. Louie is looking for him, suddenly it appearing from behind and continuously chasing him through the narrow passages. When he was about to be caught, he quickly jumped out, but Louie was trapped inside. The rocks from above fell like a waterfall, quickly crushing it. Seeing that, the apes immediately began digging for Louie. Baloo and Bagheera were worried that Mowgli would be crushed by the rocks, but he was already standing in the tree. Mowgli felt angry with them for hiding the news of Akela's death, so he left on his own. At this time, he remembered the red flower and sneaked into the human village. Here he saw people happily celebrating, so he stole a torch. Then, Mowgli ran straight into the deep forest to confront Shere Khan. Baloo and Bagheera saw the red flower moving, so followed him. However, when Mowgli ran through a meadow, he accidentally dropped a spark on the ground. At this time, Raksha heard that someone had brought the red flower into the forest, so she ordered the wolf cubs to run to the river. All the animals rushed to the river. The spark that fell earlier caused burn down a section of the forest, causing the animals in the jungle to panic. Raksha recognized the person coming as his son, Mowgli. He took up a torch and challenged Shere Khan to a fight. However, Shere Khan said that Mowgli was now the most feared thing. The buffaloes looked at the red flower with fear, and even the wolves kept their distance from Mowgli. Shere Khan claims that he can see Mowgli's future, suggesting that he will become a man like his father. It challenged him to use the red flower to fight like his father did. Incited, Mowgli throws the torch into the river and saying this is the green forest and this is his house. Shere Khan feels satisfied that it tricked him. It smirks and approaches him, intending to eat him. However, at this moment, Baloo suddenly read out the law of the wolf pack, causing everyone to rise up in fighting spirit. Shere Khan angrily roars and declares war on everyone. Baloo immediately attacks him. Although Baloo tries to knock Shere Khan to the ground and slaps him a few times, his strength is too great. Finally, Shere Khan bites Baloo's neck. The wolf pack led by Raksha also joins the fight. Bagheera quickly tells Mowgli that he is not a wolf, so this time, fight like a man. Then, Bagheera and the others held Shere Khan back, giving Mowgli a chance to run away to find the red flower. Shere Khan quickly destroyed the wolves and chased after Mowgli into the burning forest. Bagheera also chased after her to stop Shere Khan. They struggled for a while, but Bagheera was eventually defeated. At this time, Raksha, despite the danger, clung to Shere Khan's back and bit it, wanting to kill it. However, Shere Khan knocked out the wolves and continued to chase Mowgli. Mowgli ran into the burning forest and he saw a dead tree. He used 2 stones to knock together to create a sharp part, then climbed the tree to cut a vine. His enemy, Shere Khan, also came, but did not dare to risk climbing the tree. Mowgli quickly jumped from branch to branch, crossed the dead tree, tied one end of the rope to the trunk, and break another tree trunk to make a swing, and then throw it suspended down. Shere Khan roared below, wanting to pounce and tear him apart. As Mowgli crawled into the hollow tree, Shere Khan suddenly appeared and tried to catch him. Frightened, he climbed higher. Shere Khan also continued to chase, and having squeezed himself inside the tree trunk, it was determined not to give him a way out. Then, Mowgli stepped out from the rotten branch lightly. Shere Khan finally emerged from the tree trunk. He said that he would eat him. It was just a matter of time. It wondered if Mowgli could survive longer than his father. Undaunted, Mowgli turned around and said he wasn't afraid of it. Because of this sentence, Shere Khan was so angry that he didn't notice the dead tree trunk had jumped out, and Mowgli immediately jumped onto the swing he had made earlier. The branch broke. Shere Khan tried to grab the branch but fell into the fire below. Mowgli rested for a while, and then returned to find his mother. When he met the elephants, he bowed to them, while the other animals were looking at the burning forest, wondering if he would return safely. Bagheera praised Baloo for his bravery. Suddenly, Raksha saw Mowgli riding on the back of a baby elephant near a high waterfall. The elephants used their tusks to push away the trees blocking the water, making a way for the water to flow into the burning forest to put out the fire. The strong water quickly extinguished the fire. This was a special moment in history when humans were closer to the animals than ever before. Then, things quickly returned to normal. Bagheera chased Mowgli, causing him to run all over the forest. Mowgli still did not follow the rules of the wolf pack and ran up the tree, while Baloo also joined in and fell. The wolves looked at Mowgli's return and eagerly greeted him. Raksha led the way, reciting the laws of the jungle. Mowgli followed Bagheera up the tree, and Baloo had learned to climb as well. They all relaxed together in the warm afternoon sunshine of the jungle. If you find it interesting, please give me a like and leave a comment about this movie. Especially, please subscribe to the channel to follow my movie recap. See you again, my dear friends.